Shady, I have a grandiose thought, and I'm going to lead it into a question.
Okay.
Dak Prescott is a huge problem for the Cowboys, not because he's not good, but because of something I've heard before by Colin Cowherd, I believe it is, that Dak Prescott leaves the Cowboys in quarterback purgatory. He is just good enough, and he actually is good, to keep the Cowboys from having a high draft pick. The Cowboys are never going to draft in the top 5 because Dak Prescott will always keep them afloat. He literally has. Whenever Dak Prescott plays, they win at least 8 or 9 games. That's how good Dak Prescott is. The problem is, he's not good enough, historically speaking, to win him a Super Bowl.
Right.
So now the Cowboys are stuck. They're stuck with a quarterback that is great enough to keep them from drafting at the bottom of the NFL draft, keep them from being a bottom-tier feeder, but he's not good enough to help them win Super Bowls. That is a dilemma for the Cowboys. So my question, the most important question of the day, is for you, Shady. Can the Cowboys win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott?
Absolutely not. Are you kidding me? Listen, when I watch the Cowboys play, and I'm always like, what is the real issue? Why can't they win the big games? And I automatically go to the quarterback. When I watch the Cowboys, seriously, they have a top 5 defense, right? Mm-hmm. They have a player that's the closest thing to LT, right?
Parsons.
Right? Mm-hmm. And Michael Parsons. They go out there and they get a guy like Stephon Gilmore, top 5 cornerbacks in my opinion. Trayvon Diggs, you already have him over there holding things down. Then I look at the offensive side. Let me think about it. Okay, so they have an all-pro wide receiver.
Yes, sir.
Right?
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb. Then they just go acquire and they go get Brandon Cooks.
Yes, sir.
He's a 1,000-yard receiver,
seasons.
right? Speed burner. The backfield. You got Tony Pollard,
Sir.
Pro Bowl running back.
You know.
What else do you need? Because every time I watch the Cowboys when they lose, it's the quarterback's fault. You can't replace him. Owes too much money. He's the guy there. So if I try to pick a position, it has to be Dak Prescott. Unless, Moses or Jesus Christ will come in here and run some wide receiver routes. Other than that, it's him.
Now,
you gotta do it.
Shady, I'm going to press you because oftentimes when you say this, Cowboys fans, they'll say, well, Shady's being facetious. I can't take him seriously. But if you're being honest, as you always are, the Cowboys, you believe, have the offense to win a Super Bowl. And CeeDee Lamb and Tony Pollard, the offensive line, and Zach Martin, Tyler Smith is continuing to grow. The defense you feel like is good enough. You said Micah Parsons. He's an all-pro caliber talent and a legitimate all-pro talent. Trayvon Diggs, now Gilmore. So you think the team is good enough, it's just the quarterback?
As I look at the NFL, I look at the rosters, right? First of all, last year he had a really great offense coordinator, right? That's what's one.
Yeah.
Okay. And the second thing is when I look at the league, I look at the talent. It's hard to find a roster and a talent like the Cowboys have. It truly is. So, I mean, if you can upgrade any position, it has to be the quarterback for the Cowboys because they have everything they need. When they went up there to San Francisco and they played the Niners, they could have won that game if they had a better quarterback. The Niners were averaging about 30 points or plus a game. The Cowboys shut them down to about like 19, right? And the reason why they even got the 19 points is because their quarterback, Dak Prescott, was throwing picks over and over again.
Good point.
So, I mean, and I joke a lot about it, but I'm actually being super serious. I just look like when I watch this team play, Dak is the one that's causing the losses. And everybody wants to give him a pass. They think I'm an eagle guy. It's not that. I'm just being honest. I don't give him a pass. Oh, everybody accountable, and he's the weakest link on that offense and that team.
Joy, where do you stand? Can the Cowboys win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott?
I no longer believe so. I thought that Dak could be a confetti guy for a long time. I worked real hard for Dak for a long time. I defended him a lot. I thought he should have been paid. I still do think that he deserved the contract that he got. Deserved to be paid. But everything you said is true. He just keeps them in purgatory. He doesn't win the big games. When you look at the talent, there's really no holes there. It's tough because they're the Cowboys. So we always talk about them as Super Bowl contenders because on paper, they should be. Yet every single year, for almost 3 decades now, they have not been Super Bowl contenders. Dak is what I believe he is what's keeping them from getting to the next level.
Yeah.
Because if you look down the roster's played out. It's not just on paper. We know how good these players are. You've already mentioned all of them. It's the Cowboys, so we hold him to maybe an unrealistic standard. I mean, we don't give this kind of hell to Kirk Cousins. I'm wearing Vikings colors today. We don't. The Vikings were 13-4 last year, 7th in total offense, 4th in scoring offense. The Cowboys were 12-5, 11th in total offense, 8th in scoring offense. The Vikings were actually better offensively than the Cowboys were last year.
Right.
We're not talking about is Kirk Cousins capable. We know he ain't.
Right.
And that's fine.
Right.
It's fine.
That's
Like, if
a
Vikings
great point.
fans, they're just like, they get mad at us, whatever, it's fine. How did it turn out? Exactly like we thought it would. They were good during the regular season. They got a lot of talent. But what is that thing that's keeping them from the Super Bowl? It's the most important position on the field. He's good. He is good. He produces.
Correct.
We see that.
Correct.
He keeps them from getting high draft picks.
Correct.
They win the division. They make it to the playoffs. But that's not the only goal, and it shouldn't be, especially when you have a roster like that. So I'd love to say it, but the evidence has shown he's not.
That's what's fascinating is like so many people, when you say a guy can't win a Super Bowl, instantly assume it's slander. Dak is a good quarterback.
He is.
And anywhere from good to, at times, really good. He's commanded the #1 offense in football 2 of his years as a starter, if I'm not mistaken. 2 of the years that Kellen Moore was the offensive coordinator. So he has commanded a top-flight offense. But, Slick, it just appears to be a chasm between Dak leading the Cowboys and a Super Bowl. It's the chasm for several quarterbacks. Can Dak win one in Dallas?
Can he win one? Yes. Can he lead them to one? I'm with you guys. I wouldn't expect that of him. But I saw Peyton Manning win a Super Bowl when he threw for 141 yards and had a passer rating of 55.6. Why did he do that? Because they had a great defense, because they had a running game, right? Mm-hmm. And he didn't lose the game. He didn't win it, he just didn't lose it. So I'm looking at how the Cowboys are built, as you pointed out. Mm-hmm. They have everything. Mm-hmm. All they need is for Dak not to lose the game.
Sure.
Do I believe that he's capable of not losing the game? I mean, Tom Brady won a Super Bowl where threw for 0 TDs, 1 interception, 260-some yards. Do I think that Dak Prescott is capable of not losing a Super Bowl and allowing the Cowboys to win one? It's hard for me to just you said it's not slander, but I feel like it is. We're dismissing the Cowboys' ability to win a Super Bowl. There's plenty of reasons to dismiss the Cowboys' ability to win a Super Bowl because of their history. But to hang it all on Dak Prescott, if only they had a different quarterback. Peyton Manning nearly lost his job to Brock Osweiler.
He did lose his job, actually.
At one point.
He did.
And then came back and was the quarterback for a team that won the Super Bowl. So to think that Dak Prescott is completely incapable of being the quarterback of a Super Bowl team is just a bridge too far for me.
That sounds good.
Yeah, but Peyton Manning is one of the greatest quarterbacks that's ever played the game.
He
Tom
wasn't
Brady
in that
is
run.
the greatest to ever play the game. But sometimes, actually most of the time, those games come down to 1 or 2 plays where you either make the play or you don't make the play.
Right.
So really what you're saying is the difference that we're talking about. You can play at a high level, but not losing the game is sometimes all they need you to do.
Sure.
And Dak has repeatedly shown that that is the issue that he has, is not losing the game.
Right.
Not having to make the big play and throw it into the end zone, Hail Mary, not that. Just not making the wrong decision, not doing a quarterback draw up the middle of the field so the time runs out, not being able to score 20 points against a 7th-round rookie quarterback when the defense holds them to 19.
Okay, I can't separate those decisions from Mike McCarthy.
Fair.
If you're going to say,
Well,
or in terms of the offensive scheming with Kellen Moore. So I'll wait to see what happens with Mike McCarthy. This is my great issue.
Go ahead.
If you want to say that the Cowboys, look, every year we do it. They're Super Bowl contenders. I'm with you. I'm tired. I'm so tired of that. My issue is hanging if it only weren't for Dak Prescott, the Cowboys could win a Super Bowl, which is essentially what I hear you guys are saying.
The reason being, and if I can borrow Shady's point, if he'll allow, the reason being is when you look at the roster, when you look at the roster of teams that have won the Super Bowls, the Cowboys are close enough to those rosters.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Like the Chiefs roster, like the Cowboys are close enough to that roster. Chiefs had, I believe it was 5 or 6 Pro Bowlers. Cowboys had the same. The difference was obviously the greatest quarterback, arguably soon to be maybe of all time, and Patrick Mahomes and Dak Prescott. If it was 2016, Slick, I would agree with your argument. I just don't need Dak to lose the game. But I love the quote, my friend says it all the time, a tree can't become a seed. Rookie Dak Prescott, he ain't throw picks because he didn't have to. He was on a team with Jason Witten, with young Zeke, with Tyron Smith, with Zach Martin, with Travis Frederick. So it was with Des Bryant, with Cole Beasley. It was just, hey, protect the ball. He got MVP votes that year. This is a new Dak. 2016 Dak and this Dak, now Dak is like, yo, I got to put more of the team on my back. So what you're asking Dak to do is no longer in Dak's DNA. That protective ball Dak is like, gone.
We're talking about a freshman or a rookie quarterback compared to a veteran that got paid top of the market money as a quarterback.
Right.
So the roles are going to be way different.
Yeah.
Imagine the stuff that the coaches require you to do as a rookie compared to being a star in this NFL league.
But what?
Hold up. If we take other quarterbacks and we put them on the Cowboys, they might potentially get to the Super Bowl. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think,
Like who?
I would say about 7 quarterbacks.
Like Josh Allen.
Really?
Like Joe
Really?
Burrow. I guess
Josh Allen has demonstrated that he's not fail-proof?
When I look at because I'm talking about the overall team. I'm talking about the overall team.
Yeah.
I think that Cowboy team's a lot better than the Bills.
I hear you, and I hear you in terms of the salary. My question is, and the reason why I will leave the door open, and I'm only leaving it open a crack. I'm not open. It's not wide open.
That's too much for that.
Right? But
open a window.
I want to see if Mike McCarthy is taking over because he realizes that they gave Dak too much. That he's like, you know what? Let's play a more conservative game.
Let me ask you this one question before we got to go to break. What quarterback that is top 10 or top 8 would you ever utter they gave him too much? You don't say that about quarterbacks in the National Football League. So the fact that you even have to say that question, in my mind, is a problem in and of itself. Because we would never say, they gave Burrow too much. They gave Mahomes too much. You wouldn't say they gave
I'm not
Herbert
saying he's
too
a
much.
top 10 quarterback. I'm just saying he's good enough. He's good enough that if your defense is opportunistic, particularly in its ability to score as well.
Yeah, which they were.
They were. Right?
Michael Parsons got a couple touchdowns.
Right? And that's my point. Like, if I look at the way the Cowboys are constructed, I'm not just saying any team gets there. I think if there's any team that's constructed that could get there with a not top 10 quarterback,
it's the Cowboys.
It might just be the Cowboys.
Well, for the sake of television, I hope they do. Cowboys, we've been begging for y'all to get to a Super Bowl.
You hope that?
Bro, it makes for great television. Great television.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.